Hey, I'm the console.log vlog. Thought I'd just do an additional vlog where I talk about why I think AI isn't going to make programming jobs obsolete anytime soon, basically. So yeah, it's another off the cuff one. I sort of try and explore why I don't think AI is replacing us anytime soon. So one of the reasons I didn't really touch on this in the first video was, and I guess it probably is a problem that could be solved, but it's consistency throughout the code. So for an entire code base, you want to have a consistent variable names, naming conventions, all that sort of thing. I'm sure that's a problem that could be easily solved, actually, to be honest. Might already be solved in Copilot. I've not really used it yet, but that's one thing that one reason why I think you still need a human element. Second is, like, I don't think we're at the stage yet where you could just say to a AI, even GPT-3 or something, which have those examples of being able to give it a description and it could create a very simple method or function that would do one thing. But say you were creating a more complex app, I don't know, like a CRUD application for a business service. There's still too much complexity there, I think, for artificial intelligence like GPT-3 or whatever to be able to accurately map all the requirements and then translate that into an understandable, usable form. So that's another reason I think it's probably not possible yet. It's certainly that AI. I mean, obviously, if we get to a stage where artificial intelligence can truly think and have novel insights into problems, then we might be in trouble. But that is very far off. And I think, to be honest, before anything affects programmers, the many other industries will fall first, I think, to be honest. Also, I mean, obviously, if you could also see it as a bit of an opportunity. So, for example, if machine learning, artificial intelligence becomes a new paradigm for creating software and programs, then you still also have to create the artificial intelligence that will actually drive that progress. So there'll still have to be programs to, well, to a certain point, maybe, I don't know, maybe they can, maybe in very theoretical terms, maybe the AI will start programming more AI, but that's like sort of technological singularity sort of ideas, which is a bit, I think is always a bit like Cloud 9 sort of thinking. I don't think we're anywhere near that stage of like sort of AI programming itself and programming more and better AI. That's sort of like technological singularity ideas, which I always think are a bit pie in the sky. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, there'd still be a requirement for people to develop these systems which actually create these systems, if you understand what I mean. So surely there would still be a requirement for programmers to actually monitor at least the artificial intelligence systems. Now, like I said in the previous video, I'm a web developer. I'm not, like, AI is not my area, so maybe in some respects I'm not really speaking with authority here. I'm just sort of picking up bits and bobs that I've heard about and sort of exploring. But I mean, I know that Python's used a lot in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So maybe Python would be a good way. I mean, if people are genuinely worried about it taking away their jobs, which, to be honest, you shouldn't be, but if people are, then maybe look into learning Python at a deep level and sort of like all these about neural networks and all that sort of thing. I mean, maybe just try and, maybe instead of trying to see this as a threat, maybe see it as maybe in 5 years' time you'll need to have experience of using, as well as using Git and all the source control, maybe you'll need to know how to use GitHub Co-Pilot as a tool to aid your coding. I mean, I don't think, from what I've seen so far, which has just been a few videos on I know people who've got access to the GitHub Co-Pilot. It seems to be that it's a tool that you can use as an aid to learning, like sort of code completion tool. But it's certainly, I mean, you certainly wouldn't go through and just create everything with the first suggestions that the tool comes up with. There still has to be a human element of selection and sort of selecting for the best options to use. So it's still a pair. I mean, even the Copilot thing itself describes it as a pair AI pair programmer. So it's not like it's saying let rip on this AI Copilot thing and it'll just code everything for you. That would be amazing in some respects, but also bad in some others. But like, I don't even think the makers of this thing themselves, Microsoft, are even claiming that it can do that. The OpenAI and Microsoft thing. I don't think they're even claiming it to do that. I think it's still something that requires a lot of human input. And yeah, you wouldn't. I don't think, from what I gather, you just let the Copilot write the entire thing. I think a lot of developers that I've seen react to this as well, being deeply sceptical of its true effectiveness, because it gets a lot of the answers, I think, from public repositories, which is good. I mean, obviously, I guess there must be some way that the program is assessing the effectiveness of the solutions, which is clever. But yeah, I don't think. I'm still going to hold to the view that currently it's not a threat. If we develop general AI, then that's a huge, humongous breakthrough. But it's so far in the future. We're so far from that point. I mean, from what I understand from people who are really into AI and machine learning, and we're nowhere near the point where an artificial intelligence can be as ingenious as potentially as a good human programmer could be. Be at a place where it could come up with novel solutions to problems. And I'm not saying all of it. I mean, no, like, development is an engineering skill. It's a technical engineering skill. I mean, I'm not like saying even when I do my programming projects, I make mistakes. Every programmer does. It's not like you're like programming Jesus and you're coming up with these super efficient ways of solving problems. Always, anyway, you try to, but obviously no one could be programming Jesus. You sort of you do make mistakes. I mean, you could probably argue that, well, maybe AI would be better because it won't make mistakes, but it probably will. I mean, I posted a thing about the Copilot thing, and someone said on my Facebook, he's another programmer, he said, this is going to be like that Microsoft bot, but even funnier. Then the one that the Microsoft bot that just was online, I think, for learning from Twitter, and would just spew out like all this racist, like abusive stuff just from learning what I'd picked up on the internet. And he said that he reckons this GitHub Copilot's going to be like that, except funnier even. So we'll see. I mean, like I saw one example the other day where the Copilot was, I mean, it was understanding some of the context, which is very interesting. From the strings that it was given in comments as to what the function should do. But it was still making mistakes in places. It's not like you can just say, make me a clone of Facebook, and it's going to give you give me a clone of Netflix, and it's going to give you like thousands of lines of code that all kind of relate well to each other. I mean, I think the main use case for it initially is probably going to be you're stuck on a function. I can't quite figure out how to do it. Give it a vague description. Gives you a block of text, a block of code that you can then modify yourself, and then you'll have to tinker with it. So I think, like I said, I potentially see it as a very useful thing. It's always useful to have those sort of prompts, speeds up your coding. Is it taking away our jobs anytime soon? No, I don't think so. I mean, especially with something like JavaScript, where there's quite a complex ecosystem all around it, build tools, and I mean, who knows? Who can even describe all of the ways of creating like JavaScript projects with libraries and frameworks these days. Now, mapping all that complexity onto artificial intelligence is just it's mind-bogglingly complex, and who knows? Maybe we'll get to the point. I'm really deeply skeptical of it, to be honest. But anyway, I think I'll leave it at that. That's sort of another part 2 of talking about artificial intelligence again in the GitHub Co-Pilot. I see it as a good development, really. It's like a sort of, potentially anyway, like a good development that could help. I mean, assuming it works well, it could be like another, like a sort of game changer in the sense that like everyone's starting to use GitHub and GitLabs and everything, like using source control. I mean, I know source control's been used for ages, but like just that becoming more of a popular thing. Yeah, it's good. I think it's good development. I don't think it's going to take our jobs though. That's basically what I think. Nothing else to say, so I'll leave it at that.